and welcome to the Complete Agent podcast, where each week we aim to educate and entertain our industry. My name is James Kendall, and this week I'm joined by my colleague Ian Storey and good friend. Unfortunately, David Warburton is unavailable this week, so it's just us two. So I'm sure this will go viral, and it'll be the best episode ever. Mate, how has your week been?
Well, my week has been very good, thank you. First of all, it'll definitely be the best episode. I know that you and Dave tried without me last week, and according to Spotify, it was the lowest ever rated podcast in the history of podcasts. So
actually got minus listens. People actually just deleted it. Didn't even listen.
So I'm sorry about that. So welcome. Well, I've had a very good week. It's 2 weeks, really, isn't it? It's how's your 2 weeks been? Because I wasn't here last week because we've just moved house. So
nice.
Yeah, so we did a big project on a house that we moved out of 7 months ago, and we've just moved back in this week. The builders are still there, but we are back in, which is nice. We've been renting a little ex-council house around the corner, and it's been very, very cramped. So it's good just to get back with space, with kids, what they're like with all the stuff. So it's all good. But really, I was just saying to you before we came on, things are good. When I look at, this is what we put on in the last 2 weeks. We've had our highest ever value listing at 3.5 million.
Nice. Catching up with me.
Which is an 11,000 square foot house. Wow. It was built by the guy who was selling it for 14 years ago. He's got 10 acres. Obviously, it's got all the bells and whistles. It's an absolute beauty, and he came straight to us, and we beat Savills on that. So that's nice. A really good one. Another really good one, a £2 million listing, which people quite often think that because we're in Cheshire, we sell a lot of footballers' houses, but we're not in that bit of Cheshire, so we don't deal with any footballers at all. Really, we're in sort of rural or mid Cheshire, really. So these listings are brilliant for us. A £2 million one, a beautiful. I sent you lads some photos over the other day, didn't I? The guy's got an amazing car collection. And just amazing. But then equally, a really good 300 grand listing, a Victorian semi in Northwich, which will do really well, I think. Phil's put 3 really good ones on, one at 650, one at 1.25, one at 1.35. I went with Phil yesterday to see the guy for a second appointment, really, and he's going ahead. And then another good barn conversion at 1.25. So really good listings. And then good sales coming through as well. Definitely a bit more bubbling away at the higher end. We had an offer on one last weekend that's been on for a couple of months at 1.5. He offered 1.4. That's not going to go anywhere, but we've just booked a second viewing on that property in yesterday with someone who viewed last weekend.
Nice.
Then offers on other things, 875, 670. And then another chain of 3 that we've managed to create, which is good if it all happens, isn't it? But not if it all falls. This is a barn. I think it's a barn. They're all barns, James. We know that. This is a stable or something, say stable or barn that we'd put on an offers of a 975, and we'd sold it for $1,025,000 within a couple of weeks. Then it fell through. And I said to the sellers, stick with these buyers because they're paying 25 grand over. Don't put it back on. Wait for them to resell because they're really keen. So we've waited about 5 weeks for these buyers with it off the market, and they've resold.
Sounds like an eternity, doesn't it? Sometimes 5 weeks.
Yeah,
the reality is, like, if you look at the Rightmove HPI, days is the average time to sell, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and for 50 grand, you'd wait 5 weeks, wouldn't you?
Of course you would.
But it now turns out those sellers of that one are buying one off us at 800, and the sellers of the 800 are buying one off us at 650. So,
wow.
Yeah, so if that all sticks together, that will be very nice. So we'll see where that goes. But generally good. All good, really. I'm wondering when it's going to slow down, really. But for us, we're still finding things to be nice and busy.
Interesting. So like, the week we
How about you?
Yeah, no, it's fine. I was going to jump in anyway, seeing as you didn't ask. I was going to say, interesting week, really, because we have noticed in the last week a little bit of a slowdown in terms of vals. When I say slowdown, we still did the best part of 7 vals last week. But considering how it's been recently, we've been doing 2 or 3 a day between us. You notice, and it's actually been really nice to have some time.
Yeah, it is.
So in terms of deals done, so Rich has done just about to finish tying up a deal at 1.3 on a place that fell through a few weeks back. We've helped the sellers negotiate their onward purchase as well. We've managed to help them get a little bit off the one they want to buy to make it all work. We have tied up one of the new builds at a mill, which is nice. The old mill conversion that I had at 650. I've got one more as well that I'm working on at 650.
Okay.
So, I mean, all in all, we're still going to have in terms of average months, we're still going to have a really good month. But the last week is just, it has definitely slowed down. But what's been good is it's been welcomed, to be honest, because just nice to have some time, because obviously we've got our quarterly market update going out in the next few days. We've got nearly 10,000 letters due to land today. The envelopes will land on Monday, and the operation will just be get them all out next week. So that's, to be honest, it's welcomed to have the time. Taken on another weekend viewing assistant as well, as a backup to our current one, because we've been quite busy on viewings. But yeah, overall the picture's pretty good. In terms of new listings, Chloe's done really well in the last week or so at the sort of the lower end, sort of 400 to 500-ish. Listed quite a few there. Rich is working on a couple at the moment, between sort of 8 and a mil. I've just signed 2 up, one at 1.5, in one of the really good villages, really good landmark listing for me. And another one at 9, market ready for next year. 250k reduction on that one as well, which is really good.
How are you getting on with Boxing Day launches? Have you got anything lined up?
No? Not yet. Not yet. No. I mean, I would like to, but what I'm saying to a lot of the ones I'm listing is because the 2 that I would like to probably do on Boxing Day are both grade 2s. Okay. I just think it's just a bit too early to sell them. Yeah. Because they are
early in the year because they're cold.
Yeah.
That's
my worry. And just they said to me, to be honest, no one's ever said that. They had 3 other agents out because they're on the market with an agent at the moment, not going anywhere. I've managed to secure a 250k reduction. Everyone else was prepared. I said, look, because everyone else was prepared just to take it on at the same price. I said, well, nobody else said about changing the price. I said, because everyone else is just going to do what the others have done.
Yeah.
They're literally just going to pass the baton, and you're going to be on Rightmove for another 6 months, sitting in your house, wondering why no one wants to buy it. Then you're going to be in this position at the end of the summer. You need to sell this house. I said, what's the objective? Is it to move, or is it to maximise the price? Because at the moment you're doing neither. To maximise the price, you need to get people through the door. If you've been on the market for 6 months at this price, what does that tell you? Your marketing's okay. It doesn't look horrific. I've seen worse. But I did the 3/4 Ps with them, and I just said, look, this is what the data says. The data says you're more like 900 than you are 1.15. And I said, if 1 million plus is available, you'll get enough interest, and we'll be able to get there with the viewings, viewing day. But offers over works best when we take you out of your comfort zone. So we've agreed offers over 9 from 1.15, and that'll come on next year. It's a beautiful place. It's just too much money. It's not big either. That's the thing. It's not big.
No, the size is massive, isn't it? The size makes a huge difference. We've got one at the minute that I think she's going to take off, and to be honest, if it comes off, I'll be quite glad. Really, it's over a mil, and she paid something like 1.2 for it. If you look at a couple of years ago, if you look at the data, it probably is worth. According to the data and how it's increased, it is worth what it's on for, but it's had no viewings. And I just think it's too much money. And she won't listen to me. So she messaged me yesterday saying, I think I might take it off. And I thought, I don't think I'm going to fight for this one. I think I'm just going to let it go because I've got enough other stuff going on, and you don't need it around your neck, do you?
No, especially when you're having to do... The thing is, the good thing about us and what we kind of preach to the members of TCA is giving people weekly updates. Mm-hmm. And if you commit to giving people weekly updates and they're not motivated and not listening, then it's just another 20 minutes, half an hour you've saved each week that you can be spending on something else.
And you don't mind it so much if it's a property that's got interest, do you? And you feel like they're not quite listening to you, but it's got viewings. You sort of feel like, oh, well, but if it's got nothing, someone might die. If you've got nothing and they're not listening, it's just a waste of your time. So we'll let it go. As we've been speaking, I've just written down Chloe 400 grand to 500 grandish, because your comment there was funny really how you just sort of passed, 400, 500-ish, lower end-ish. I think, bloody hell, mate, how far have we come? Amazing.
Yeah.
Like your lower end. Brilliant. And do you know what? I'm really enjoying Chloe's reels.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they look really, really good. Really, really, really good reels.
Really good reels.
And we're going to copy them blatantly. Going to do a blatant copy, which Phil's already done one, and we're going to start doing that because they look really good. I think they look really good.
I think the thing is, we're trying to refine as well. And I sat down with Jack, the photographer, and our videographer in house, and I just said, "Look, this is what we're doing at the moment. How do we make this better?" Because the thing is, what's the definition? Insanity is doing the same thing, with a different result. And I rate mine, yours, and Dave's videos. I think they're brilliant. However, the platforms that we're putting them on, they aren't getting the reach. They're not that they deserve. So some of the videos we're putting on the landscape videos on Instagram. Yeah. I'm just going to load up my Instagram while I'm here as well. So just to give the context, but let's have a look. So we've got one of, and I'm not singling him out here, but I'll single out one of mine as well. But one of Rich's reels, decent house, half decent video, 750 views, and then that's a traditional kind of landscape reel, and then on a nice property as well. And then you've got, and arguably a not so nice property that launched 24 hours ago now, and it's got 1,800 views already.
Yeah, amazing.
24 hours.
Amazing.
And that's on Instagram. Because the thing is, on Instagram, you're limited by where you can put it. Like, I don't know, have you looked at your metrics on your Facebook Reels? I'm not trying to call you out live on the podcast.
No.
But have you looked at, and what I mean by that is, have you looked at, so if you go onto your Facebook page and go on to videos, and then you can look at, so that you can see that on my screen there.
Yeah.
You can, that it will play next to how many reels. So on Facebook, that same reel has got 8,500. Another one has got 8,300, like 4,300, like Facebook. But then if you compare it to one of the landscapes, so I always like to try and compare things and contrast them in the same environment. So, I wouldn't say one reel side by side against a reel that's been shared against one that hasn't been shared. If you look at the metrics side by side of the ones that have been shared and the ones that haven't been and how they've been viewed, the portrait ones natively on the app massively outperform the ones that are landscape, even in the same conditions. Because what happens is you're picking up the ones that Facebook is pushing. So, I've got a process in the business now that when we launch it, the guys, whoever's listing it is, Richard's brilliant at this. As soon as the listing goes on, he's got about 80 groups he just shares all of his listings into, like straight away. Same now with Chloe, and Matt does it for me and I do it for mine. And it just, the reach is fantastic. And then, then on top of that, you've got TikTok. And I talked briefly about AI last week, and won't go too deep into it, but getting the AI to write your descriptions for your platform, so like for Facebook, for Instagram, for TikTok, and just getting the AI to write. I put your property description in there and getting it to write. I want this to be seen by as many people as possible looking for this kind of house. Craft me act as my social media expert and craft me a description that I can use for this house. And the difference has been phenomenal. So from when one I did, I got 1,000 views. Similar property using the AI description, I got 6,000 views on TikTok. So it's been like 6x'd, and that is with I think the use of hashtags and stuff. But
okay.
So I think let's not go too deep on AI and everything. But I mean, it's there to enhance and help you. But I think the lesson here is to play into the strength of the platform, and look at it as you wouldn't wear school shoes to play football or rugby. No,
I mean, the local groups is key, isn't it? That's how we grew stories earlier on, definitely, is using local groups. So the use of local groups is key. You just got to you need to know which ones will let you post in, don't you? And which ones have got business days and that sort of stuff. That's all.
That's fine, but what about Instagram? Like, so going back to Instagram, the one of the best ways to grow on there is with hashtags. So a quick tip here, hashtags is one, location is another. So make sure you tag the location in the reel when you actually upload the reel, because that's super important. A lot of people miss that off.
Interesting.
And the third thing, once you've uploaded the reel, put the reel on your story and put it on your story in such a way that if anyone's cycling through your stories, they can't help but click on it. So there's a reason. I don't know if you've seen mine. I'm going to turn the camera around now, and obviously people listening to this podcast, they won't see it. But if you follow me on Instagram, you'll see there's a reason I always put that there in that particular position. And the reason being is because it's naturally where your thumb sits to skip to the next story.
Right, yeah.
And if you press it and you try to skip to the next story, it says watch full reel.
Okay, that's good.
So, like, naturally, you'll pick up some extra views. But also on your story, I did say this on the pod the other week, like, put your little description, but you see there's a little thing underneath that says Master Mortain.
Yeah.
So you tag the location in your story, because what you do is not only do you get everyone that's following you, but you also get people that are following that particular area for stories. I don't mean stories as in stories as they.
No, I know what you mean.
Which is really confusing. But like, you know, if you're near a big city, so for you it might be Chester or Cheshire, or I don't know what's the biggest city near you? Is it Cheshire? Chester.
Manchester.
Is that Manchester? Okay, so you're not really Manchester though, are you? Really?
No, I mean, I always think of Chester as a big town rather than a city.
Yeah. Fair.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, you know, I would say Manchester's probably more relevant for someone like Dave. But like, if you like tag Manchester in there, people that are looking at Manchester specifically on stories will get to know about your brand as well, because your story will appear on their hashtag that they're following. That's just another way of it. There's just a few little Instagram hacks that I've learned along the way, just by, you know, Matt Giggs calls me the mad scientist, but I sit there and like I read things and try different things out and find what works, and obviously, you know, help you guys and our members and our listeners with the benefit of what I've learned. But so yeah, went off on a bit of a tangent there. So should we talk about this week's pod?
Yeah, let's talk.
So we thought we were going to talk this week about we're going to call it "What the F Do You Want," and so, you know, title to be decided, but I think this will be a really important podcast for people like me 6 years ago, when I really struggled. And I think a lot of people do struggle with what they want out of their business. I think what happens a lot of the time is there's generally a few different camps. There's people that set up their business because they knew that's what they wanted to do and they knew what they wanted to achieve. There's also there people like me that were in employment and set up their business because they were fed up of working for people, or they were kind of unemployable, and didn't really have any direction, but were just quite good at what they did. So I was always a really good estate agent, but I'd never really thought about what comes next, what's in the future. Yeah. And it's only really through running into a brick wall constantly, because there's different camps of people in life. There's people that let life happen to them, and there's people that take life by the balls and you know, all the proverbials, and, you know, do what they want to do and, you know, drag themselves across the line in whichever which way. So I think to put the question to you, when you set up stories, did you know what you wanted out of stories, or did you just knew you need to set up stories?
I think with stories, I knew what I wanted, yes. And that has evolved, but I first self-employed in 2006, didn't start stories until 2019. Mm-hmm. So I had a lot of years of trial and error, and same as you, really. I was working in an estate agency, and I just wanted to be self-employed and do my own thing and have freedom. So I just started an estate agency and didn't put any thought into it. Didn't put any thought into what we were selling, how we looked. I just started it.
Say yes and figure it out later.
Yeah, exactly. I still do that now to a degree. Richard Branson lives by that. So there's a lot of positives in doing it that way. But what we got to the stage where with stories was, before we started stories, was I'd learned that I wanted to be selective. And I think that was the key thing. So from the start with stories, we were selective. And at the time, that meant, you know, being selective over not selling maybe an ex-council house and only selling a 400 grand detached. It was that level of selectiveness. Now, obviously, we're at a different level, but it was still, the mantra was to be selective. Yeah. Because I knew that would lead to a larger profit margin. I mean, it's that simple, isn't it? If you sell
the thing is, you bring yourself back though, don't you? That's the thing. And I think where we're going to go with this is that in order to, once you've got to start with, and it sounds a bit like that classic Simon Sinek thing, isn't it? Start with why. Why? And then, so for example, for me, it's something I struggled with for years, because I was just literally going through the motions each day. I was coming home late. I was working my arse off. I was getting into the office, and I felt, I had a reasonably nice car, had an okay house, was earning okay. But, I was coming home at night at like 6:30, 7, like still working, had my laptop open and had my phone, and I just felt like a bit of a busy fool. I was desperately trying to climb the pie chart in the area that I was in. Like my goal was, look at how many houses we can sell.
Yeah.
But, I think we sold 178 houses one year, and that put us like third on the pie chart, which was still was a great achievement considering our size at the time, because we'd massively outperformed everyone else in the market, but equally we were charging like under $2,000, like fees were shocking. So you could do the figures, 170 odd, what's that, 350 grand turnover. Like literally busted my ass for 350 grand turnover. Where, now, we're well over double that, in terms of what we do each year. And the target, for us is to be £1 million agency, and we're well on track to be there. But anyway, going back to why, again, I struggled with figuring out what I wanted for years. So, coming into work on the hamster wheel. So, basically I had 6-7 years ago, I had a business that I was employed by. So it was just a job. There was no end game, no thought. It was all just very much, I'm an estate agent and I pay people's wages and do a job as well. And don't get me wrong, I love the hustle of agency, and I still work in the business every day, and I love doing vows, but it's completely different now. And if I want to go on holiday, I can go on holiday. If I want to finish at 5, I can finish at 5. If I don't want to go in, I don't have to go in. Obviously if I've got vows, I have to go in, but the business functions without me. But then for me, it was, I found it really hard to find out what it was I wanted, because I was for me, it was always, what do I need to focus on materially? When in fact now it's more about, freedom and choice.
Freedom and time.
So, and I think, that's one thing you can never get back. And I always say to, friends of mine that have got businesses that I see them on hamster wheel like I was 6 years ago, young kids. And, don't get me wrong, like last 3 weeks I've worked a Saturday because I've had a busy time. But by doing those 3 Saturdays, I've put into the pot for the Christmas holiday. So I know now that we can go on holiday at Christmas, we can go on holiday in February, we can go on holiday in the Easter holidays. It's there. And for me, my why is, being able to spend whatever time I want with my kids, being able to do whatever I want with the kids. If I want to buy something, I can buy it. If I don't want to go into work, I don't have to go into work. It's just having that freedom. And, once you've got that and you know what that looks like. So, for most people in most terms, you should look at, what are your outgoings, for your house per month? What do you need to earn to pay your bills? And what do you need to earn to get the life that you want? So does that mean you need to employ more people so you can take a step back and give you the freedom you need?
One thing, just on that point, before I forget, one thing we've noticed this year is that because Alex, bless her, she's so, she's like me really in terms of work, work ethic. She'll just do whatever needs to be done. But what I've hated is Al being in the office too much, dealing with a lot of the day-to-day stuff, and then bringing that home. And that's not her fault at all, because that's just what happens, isn't it? And I really wanted to try and get Alex out of the office environment to stop that interfering with home life too much. And what my point there was, what I've really noticed this year is that our revenue has gone up, but I don't think our profit will have massively gone up. It will have gone up, but not massively. And part of that is because we are staffed up in the office, but that's freed us up. And I remember this time last year, or a bit earlier, thinking, okay, I would prefer to have a bigger team and be freed up myself and Alex to be freed up than having this massive profit that you can't take out anyway without paying 50% tax on it. So what's the fucking point? So this year it's really come home to roost that we've got a much bigger team, and we've got more freedom. And obviously the company's still very profitable and all these things, but I've really noticed that. So that was part of my why, really, was to give ourselves more freedom and to have Alex out of the office environment. So we're not discussing sales at home, and people haven't called you back for viewings and all these things that happen. You don't want to talk about it when I get home. You want that. You don't want that at home, do you?
I suppose it's a little bit more difficult for you because you're in the business together, aren't you? That's the thing.
Yeah,
like me,
exactly. Yeah, but I can shut it off. Like I'm sure you can. I can close it off. I can get home and forget about it all until the next day. Or think, maybe a couple of things come into your mind and I can deal with it myself. I don't want to start discussing it with people sat around.
No. I don't want to talk shop when I'm home. I'm done. But also, I do quite like. There is something cool about, being on holiday. Like I remember we went to Dubai earlier on in the year with the kids. Dubai. Yes, baby. It was nice just to, be around the pool, and I got a call from a client about an offer, and you're wrapping a £1.5 million deal up in the swimming pool.
Oh yeah,
that's great. Come back to the sunbed, with your pina colada. Yeah, well, don't want to. Not kind of a big deal, isn't I? Just a casual walk around the pool, 1.5 mil deal.
No, I agree. I've always loved that. When I say freedom, I don't mean completely off work, because you'll never be completely off work, will you? And it's nice to do the odd thing when you're away, definitely. But you need. I
enjoy work though. I think that's the thing. I enjoy work. Like, I know there's people out there that set up their businesses as a vehicle just to give them what they want, and good for you. If you want your business just to sit there and pay you, and you can do what you want to do in your other priorities in life, then cool. Good luck to you. If that's what you, and that goes back to the podcast. If that's what you want, that's what you need to set up. Whereas I still enjoy the hustle. Yes, sometimes there's days that get you down when things don't quite go to plan, or someone in your team F's up, or something happens. But how cool is it when you've got a lead generation strategy like we have, and you get called out to some amazing houses, you meet some incredible people, have incredible conversations with these people, and then you get to kind of enter their world for like 6 months to a year, get to know them, preparing. I get a buzz out of preparing the marketing.
Massively.
Video together.
Huge buzz, like you say, it all comes back to why and what you really want out of it. But if you really enjoy it, and I massively enjoy it now, like I know that you and Dave both do, like the shoot we were doing the other day at this £2 million one, the Twilight shoot, and they get the cars in and out of the garage. I really enjoy creating all the marketing. So but what I don't want to do is progress sales, and what I don't want to do is do the day-to-day office stuff, because I've done 20 years of that. I don't want to do that now. So it's having the team that enable you to do what you want to do, isn't it? That's what you. For me, that's the beauty of having a business, is being able to do exactly what you want to do when you want to do it. But you've got to have the team there to be successful and get the profit and the revenue that we want. You've got to have the team.
But also, and that's the thing, like, you're absolutely right. You need to set out what you want in your business. So then, it all goes back to your numbers, so in order to employ the team that you need, and the team you want, you need to earn X. And in order to grow as a team, you need to earn this. So how many valuations do you need? I always used to fight against, gross numbers. So when someone used to say, well, we convert 30%, I'd go, yeah, but what's the point in counting the ones that didn't come to market anyway? You can't count those. Well, actually, in order to have a sustainable, and what do I want to say? What can't think of the word, but predictable.
Yeah.
What I was looking for is that you need to look at your gross fall through rate. The vanity metrics. You're telling yourself, you're lying to yourself, and I was lying to myself when I used to say, well, can't count that one. They didn't come to market. That was just a probate vow. They were never going to come to market.
Yeah.
So. All right, book better quality valuations then. Don't go out to the shit that's not coming on the market, or, is just your mate from the pub said they might sell in 10 years. Don't go and don't count it. Only actually go out to the ones that are coming in are good quality. But equally, if you're working on 35%, then at least if you know where your leads are coming from, and things like I used to wear it like a badge of honor. Referral and recommendations. My business, 90% of our business comes from referral and recommendation. Well, well done. But the thing is, I remember this 8 years ago, one Christmas, no one was referring or recommending us. We had nothing on the market and one sale for like $5,000.
Yeah.
So, you have to get serious about, I think you have to put yourself in the headspace and decide, what do you want? And then when you know what you want, you have to plan. There's a reason that everything in life is built around a plan. When you buy an IKEA wardrobe, it comes with instructions and a plan. When you go on a diet, it comes with a plan. When you go to a PT, guess what? Spoiler alert, comes with a plan.
An analogy that I love is when you walk into a house that's just been built, there's a plan, isn't there? You go all the way back 12 months, it's drawn down on a piece of paper, and then it's executed and you get the final result. So you definitely need to have some sort of plan. I'm not the best at planning, but I've had to teach myself to be better. And for me, maybe it's because I'm a bit simple, but for me, estate agency is so good because it is quite simple, isn't it, really? You just need X amount of vowels, and as long as you're converting at the similar kind of percentage, you don't need a lot more to think about than that. How many vowels have you got? What you're converting at? And as long as you're good at negotiating, the numbers will come through, won't they?
But also, like, just talking about that, like, and what I'm not saying is you need to sit there every night and put a spreadsheet together and plug numbers in and do this and do that. You just need to do it once. Like, this is what we're going to do at our annual planning day in December at the mastermind. Sit down with the members. What do you need to do for the year? How are you going to achieve it? This is what you need to do. One day, put it together, and then you've got it then. You know what to work, break it down into each week. So that means you need 4 vowels a week. To get 4 vowels a week, you need to send X amount of letters or X amount of social media or wherever your leads are coming from. This is what you need to do. So then, when it comes to the year end, and like Dave said, Dave, me and you are quite similar in a lot of ways in terms of how we implement, that's a great idea. We'll just go and do it. Like, just get on with it and do it. Dave's superpower is he's a real thinker, and he has the ability to like plug numbers in together, very analytical, like that. I hope I'm right in saying that's not me and you.
No, you are right in saying,
we kind of like throw us out there with a machine gun, and we'll be like, come on, let's have it. Whereas, Dave's more in the office, like strategy, like
Rain Man.
Warhammer on the table, talking about where everything's going to go. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But I just think if you have some sort, and I guess maybe it's direction is the word I'm looking for. If you have a direction and you have an aim kind of in your back pocket of where to aim, then, as long as like for me, it's been really simple. I know if I send 10,000 market updates every quarter, with the way that we run the business, everything else should look after itself.
Mm-hmm.
In the background, we're doing Spectre postcards. So when a house is just listed, when it's sold, when it's exchanged, we're doing them in the background anyway. So we'll pick up the odd thing of those. The quarterly market updates, we're going to have a really good end to the year. And what I'm thinking about now is, I know how many, if I send out 10,000 quarterly market updates, it gives me X amounts of vowels, which gives me X amount of instructions. And obviously over time, that is going to compound even more. But what I'm thinking of, if we have the end to the year that we're predicted with all of the stuff that's happening at the moment, then I'm thinking, well, maybe in December's like quarterly update, I might open it up to the band E of the council tax bands and go for, see if I can up that to 15,000.
Yeah. We said this about sending more letters, and we currently only send to houses with names.
Yeah.
Because we're in the sort of area where we send 5,500 a quarter, and they're all only names. There's no numbers. There's a lot of it in this kind of area. But me and Aidan have been saying recently, really, maybe we should be sending 10,000 because you could definitely send to all. There's loads of really nice roads with 500 to £1 million houses on that have not got a name, that are only numbered. So
do it.
Why not? I mean, we've got it all outsourced, so we don't touch it apart from putting the letters in the post box. That's all we do.
Yeah.
So why not? And why not up it?
That's my thing for December. So when I'm going to invest that money back in, and because I just think I've seen such a big growth over the last 2.5, 3 years that we've been sending them, various different forms, whether it's been buyer campaigns, market updates, everything, that consistent growth over time where you're building a relationship with, the mid to high end of the market. And I do think we are missing a little bit of a trick with the bandies, because I think there's quite a few bandies that move in that mid market that also, relying on council tax bans. There's a lot of bandies that really should be band F or Gs where they've been extended over the years, and the council just haven't kept on top of it.
Also, when you look at that level in the market, we all love £1 million plus, because obviously they're brilliant, they're fun, aren't they? They're exciting, their fees are amazing. But that 500 to a mil mark at 2%, especially 2%, it's just, I know we say it all the time, but it is absolute gold. So the more you have at that level, because they sell quicker, don't they? They sell quicker. They're just easier to sell, is the bottom line. So, as we've been sat here, James, I've written down Aidan - 10,000.
We all know what's going to happen, though. Like,
that was my idea as well, by the way.
Yeah, this is being recorded. But just going back to 10,000 and sending more to E. So looking at the sales that we've just agreed at the 600, 650 mark, where I am, they're all bandies. And they're all great houses, and they're all people that we should be writing to. So, end of the year, 10, because the thing is, we've gone into a new area as well. And we're just about to pick up our first real landmark construction in that area. There's been a couple where, people are and are thinking about coming to market, and it's a bit of a tricky area, really, that area. But I'm just going to keep plugging away. There's 2,500 specifically that are going every quarter to that area, and I will wear them down. At some point, there'll be some that come off. I've just sent a load of on the market letters as well. I've tried something different this time, taking inspiration from Dave. Do you remember when Dave sent his on the markets last year, and he used a black envelope with like silver writing on the front? I've just done that with a load of my on market stuff.
Okay.
And that's everything targeted 900 to 2.5. I've just sent 25 of those out specifically like that in those letters to see what comes. But I think, direct mail is underpriced, and there's been a couple of like LinkedIn posts flying around from various people in the industry about, how leaflets don't work and how it's all about digital presence. And, other people have been like, oh, it's all about direct mail and lead generation. I think you have to do both. We'll go back to the mini-series. The combination and I was having a chat with Gatesy about this yesterday. Those who do it in combination are the ones that will win, because you can't just do direct mail and do no socials, because, yes, for the demographic that are in the upper end of the market that don't use social media, great. But for that bracket that do, the people in that 40 to 60 odd year old space that will look at your letters or look at whatever you're sending through the post, and then go and check you out on social media, go and check your website out. You've got to match, and you've got to be consistent with what you're offering, and what you're doing. And
this also ties back into the topic of the pod, doesn't it? Which is what you want out of the business at the other end. And this enables you to be more predictable, as you said before, with the evaluations you get, and then you can predict. Ultimately, you can predict your revenue, can't you?
And then the thing is, it varies. If you look at the conversion rate of how many letters you send out to how many vals are booked, it can vary. Like, we've had response rates at like 0.1% before, all the way up to 0.2 to 0.5 to, some. I think Q2 of last year, that one we all sat down and wrote together that time. And I think that was that's where my £3.5 million instruction came from. That data-led market update just landed to the right people at the right time, spoke volumes to them. And then, next thing 8-9 months later, it's on the market. It's a great instruction. And again, it all ties in with what, as you quite rightly say, it ties in. If you're sitting there and you're thinking, because there are very successful people in the industry that run high volume businesses, like Michelle Gallagher. She runs a fantastic high volume business, really successful, great business. But it all comes down to where you are in the country. You can do that where I am in Bedfordshire, Milton Keynes. You can run a volume based business in this area. There's a lot of sort of mid to low end to go at. However, having done that, it's not for me because it is very intensive, and you are almost you are reliant on the market and transaction levels.
Yeah, I also
as an agent. Sorry, go on.
Sorry, mate. Yeah, I also think it's if you've got a business that's already doing that. This is where brand split, brand stretch comes in, isn't it? If you've already got a successful business that's doing that, trying to turn that business around to not do that is very difficult, isn't it?
Yeah,
and
that's where we're going.
Business added on, if you can, because trying to turn a business around that's known for doing lower end is very, very difficult. And that's where at Stories we had the opportunity of starting completely fresh, completely new, and we were very selective. And like you say, it's not for me either doing high volume. It makes me shudder thinking about what we used to do, the amount of sales we used to have going through. I mean, if we didn't have 130 on the market available, I was disappointed.
Yeah.
Crazy.
But you think, look, going back to our figures the other day, you think like listed fees on the market, like, we've got nearly 500,000 approaching on the market listed. And that's all down to fees. And it's, you can always, people will always sit there and complain about they can or they can't do this, or you can't do this in my town because, in my town, the average agent's charging under 1%.
Yeah.
There's everyone else's agent in every other town. So, if you want to be the same as everyone else, do the same as everyone else, then that's fine. But, going back to planning again at the start of the year, if you figure out and you said, right, I want time, I need to earn 20 grand a month, or I want to earn 20 grand a month, or 10 grand a month, or whatever that number is, you can plug that in, look at your business for the year and go, how many vals have I done? How many sales have I done? What's my average fee? And then you can go work that back to, right, where do those vals come from? So what do I do more to get that? And if you don't know, then what you need to do is figure it out or start fresh. Like forgive yourself for not writing down every single number, but get yourself a lead generation strategy like we've got at TCA, and just stick to the process, and the proceeds will come. I hate sounding cliche when
it's true,
like that, but it's true. If you stick to that process that's proven, it will just happen, and the numbers will look after themselves. Just do what we say. And
shut up.
Be patronising. Yeah, shut up, sit down. It works.
It's true.
It
does work if you're consistent. That's the point, isn't it? If you're consistent across everything that you do. God, the amount of times I've said that on this podcast, but you do need to keep saying it because people aren't consistent. You got to be consistent across everything you do all the time, and it will come.
But that's who wins in life in general.
Of course, every business sector is the same, isn't it?
Anything in life.
Of course, anything in life. You'll always get people who are more successful than other people, whether that's family, money, business, whatever, health. But it's the people who are consistent that win.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. So
it's like going to the gym, do you go, if you want to be healthy, do you eat the right food all the time? 90% of the time is your food healthy. Do you go to the gym 3, 4, 5 times a week? Are you doing all these things regularly? Because if you are, then you will see the benefit.
Well, I mean, to be honest, like I say, for me, I'd always struggled with my weight for years, but I've been much more consistent with what I've been eating. And I started out about 18 months ago playing football once a week.
And you're still shit.
I'm still shit. Yeah. I'm pleased to report I'm still shit. However, what I have noticed is I have been I wear my Apple Watch, and I've been keeping a track of how much I run. And what I try and do is I try and put my work ethic into my sport. I mean, I love playing football. It's a hobby. But I also try and put my work ethic and, obviously be a good teammate, but also at the same time, work my arse off. If I'm playing up front, some weeks I'll play 11 aside for 90 minutes, and I look at my Apple Watch afterwards, and I've done 4.5 miles in 90 minutes, which is mental, really, for someone my size. But what I try and do is, if I'm playing up front and we haven't got the ball and their defence have got the ball, I'm literally running after the defenders, harrying them, chasing them down, and hustling for the ball. And it's just, doing the defending from the front and helping your team out. But just going back to the point, when I first started out, I couldn't run properly. I hadn't really run and played football for years. I wasn't really doing any exercise. I wasn't really eating that great. And what I decided to do was I started from something really small, and this really worked for me, is I was having 5 cups of tea a day. and in every cup of tea, I was having 2 sugars. Now, you don't think that's much, but when you actually look at what 5 cups of tea with 2 sugars, that's 10 sugars a day.
On top of all the other sugar.
Yeah, on top of all the other sugar. But even if you just take that number, right, 10 sugars a day, and I think it's, off the top of my head, I think in 10 teaspoons of sugar, there's something like 160 calories or something like that. There's 160 I mean, it might be more than that. It might be
probably is more than that, yeah.
I think it's, I think it might be 320
a
day.
Wow. A day?
So if you do, 320 calories a day in sugar in tea.
4,000 calories a week.
Hold on. The numbers are coming. So 320 a day times 365 is... Well, so the number is 116,000
calories. Just that.
A year. And hold on. I'm going to put it to Google. How much is a pound of fat in calories? Hold on. According to Google. So, 3,500 calories is 0.5 kilograms.
Right, wow. That's massive.
So,
What change have you made?
Getting to the point. So I went from 2 sugars to 1.
Yeah.
Then I went from 1 to half to none. And then I went from 5 cups of tea to 4, from 4 to 3, from 2 to just I have 1 coffee. So the other thing as well I did, again, without going too deep, but hopefully people will get some value from this in their life. I did a Supply Life allergy test because I just wanted to see, because I'm quite into like how your body reacts to different things. And I did a Supply Life test, and one of the big triggers for me, and I was actually discussing this with Holly, I don't know if you remember, actually briefly when we were on the mastermind about allergies and stuff. But cow's milk has an effect on me. Certain nuts have an effect on me. So what I've been doing now is in the morning, I just have a coffee with coconut milk.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't, because rather than having a latte, which is full of like cow's milk.
Yeah. Latte, coffee with coconut milk sounds absolutely rank, but I don't have an allergic reaction to milk, so it's different, isn't it? Depends on your makeup.
But actually, do you know what it is? For me, I'm used to it now. So I have one in the morning, and I find my like bloating, like just everything, clear of mind. I try and like.
One thing I've really got to grips with since I stopped drinking. Really, which, by the way, it's nearly 2 years since I stopped drinking. But
that's big.
I've really got to grips with my diet.
Yes.
So I did the Zoe test, which measures your gut microbiome.
I've done that
came
as well.
out like excellent.
Really,
I've really got to grips with my diet.
Wow.
Yeah, so I read a book last summer called Ultra Processed People by Chris Van Tullochen, which is absolutely excellent, and it's massively changed pretty much everything I eat, and also what we buy for the kids to eat. So we've stopped buying load. We really try and buy nothing that's ultra processed. Stuff creeps in. That life's not perfect. But
I mean, kids are kids at the end of the day. You know, like we're the generation that grew up on turkey dinosaurs out the freezer.
Yeah, of course, yeah, and cornflakes and stuff. So we're really, and I've personally just noticed a massive difference in how I feel and in my mood, because your gut is linked to your brain, isn't it?
That's right.
And they've only learnt that in recent years, haven't they? And that how I feel, I'm much more level, I'm much more calm, I'm much more. I don't get really stressed or panicked about things. It's probably a combination of not drinking, but also what I'm eating. And I would urge anyone to read that book, Ultra Processed People by Chris Van Tullochen, because it definitely, there's a correlation between that and the success of the business, isn't there?
Yes.
It's not a coincidence, you know. And I'm not saying...
with me. Yeah. I mean, you know, it's just talking about ultra processed. One of the things I try, again, actionable things for people, I try and stay away from bread. Like, I don't eat bread. Bread's bad. Like, well, for me personally.
Yeah. Again, some people are allergic to it, aren't they, or intolerant to it. But with bread, we definitely don't buy ultra processed. We buy. There's a really good one called Jason's sourdough that they sell in Tesco.
Yeah.
There's no shit in it. The kids, you know, look, it's not perfect. They have bagels and stuff sometimes, and
the kids. At the end of the day, we live in the 21st century.
Well, yeah, exactly. Yeah, Tim Spector, who runs Zoe, who preaches about all this sort of stuff, says 80-20. You can try and live by 80-20. You know, I mean, like, for instance, me and Alex last night, we had just moved into the new house. We had a filthy takeaway from this place. It was absolutely amazing. We have cheesy chips and chicken burgers. It was bloody delicious.
Can I just say, though, like, ask you a question, honestly? After you've had it, did you feel like shit?
Do you know what? I didn't actually last night, but normally I feel worse if we eat late, have like a big Chinese or a big curry or something. I sleep shit, wake up the next day feeling bloated. I didn't actually feel crap after the food last night. Surprisingly.
Have you heard of Brian Johnson?
Say that again?
Have you ever heard of a guy called Brian Johnson?
Well, there's a few. Go on, which one? Wasn't he
so he's the guy. No. So Brian Johnson is the guy that is like don't die. Like his thing is all about cheating, not cheating death, but like reversing aging. Like on Instagram, if you want to follow him, is Brian with Y, Bryan, JOHNSON _. And basically, like, I mean, he takes it to the extreme, like ridiculous. Like it's all about the hierarchy of foods and like how it all works, like plasma. And anyway, basically, just you made me think about him there because he has Whoop and like he's got like a perfect sleep score. And one of the things I downloaded recently because I'm not bad at sleeping, but I am bad at sleeping, if that makes sense. Like I go to bed earlier now at like 9 p.m. and I'll get up because most days, I mean, you know, it's like you'll send me a text at 5:30 in the morning and I'll reply to you.
Yeah.
But the actual quality of sleep that I'm getting, I've been tracking recently.
Okay.
And you can track it on Apple Watch, but there's also an app called Auto Sleep, which I found, which seems to be one of the best ones. And I've just been tracking my sleep quality and how it makes you feel. And it's all a lot of stuff to do. And Brian Johnson actually campaigns for this as well. Is about when you eat, and if you eat too close to bedtime. So if you eat at 8-9 o'clock at night, your body is still going.
Yeah.
And still trying to process that food. So you won't be able to sleep properly. So, and what I found interesting, I've been experimenting this last week with when I eat and what I eat. So like Tuesday after I played football, foolishly I came in at 9:30 at night and stuffed my face because I was starving. And I couldn't sleep all night because I was still buzzing from playing football. But then the night after, so not last night, the night before. Was that last night or the night before? No, maybe it was Thursday. Maybe, yeah. Last night, sorry. I went to bed at 9.
Yeah.
And I think worked out I got to sleep about 9:30 and I woke up at 6 in the morning.
Yeah, perfect.
So I got a really good, like, long sleep.
What time did you eat?
What time did I eat yesterday? We ate yesterday about 5:30.
Yeah. See, in an ideal world, it's kids, it's clubs, it's work, it's lots of things, isn't it? But in an ideal world, I'd be eating at 5:30, 6, definitely.
Yeah.
A good 2 or 3 hours before you go to bed. I mean, the other thing I try and do now more is, again, it doesn't happen during the week, but like if we go for a curry at the place in the village, we'll try and walk. So you're walking back.
Yeah.
Walking after a big meal, if you do like a 10-minute walk, it's definitely much better for your digestion and how you feel and how much you sleep.
Well,
Massively.
the thing is, well, all these things that you do, these small habits form compound interest. And talk about books. I love James Clear, Atomic Habits. And that is a fantastic book that I would recommend anyone reads. But, you know, even little things that compound over time and, you know, going back to playing football, you know, going consistently playing football each week and pushing myself each week, going from running, you know, just under a mile max each week to some weeks doing 4.5 miles if I play, you know, a 90-minute match. Like that compound interest over time leads to all sorts of different health benefits. But, you know, and you get fitter, stronger, you know, you get better. But it's like all things in life, you know, walking to the shop, you know, the shop you can get in the car and be there in 30 seconds or you can walk there in 5 minutes.
Yeah.
You know, get yourself out there, you know, get your heart rate going. Because I've got quite a good heart rate. Plot twist, I'd die of a heart attack tomorrow. But I've got quite a good, like, resting heart rate for my age. Considering I'm not an athlete, like, I've got a really good, like, resting heart rate. What I've noticed from looking at the data on my Apple Watch, and I've never really been a data geek until sort of more recent years, but looking at how my resting heart rate's come down over the last 18 months I've been playing football. Like, just, again, it's that compound interest, but also my habits in life, you know, eating less sugar, not eating bread, not eating processed crap like crisps all the time, not filling up on cheese, you know.
One thing I try and do, food wise, I've massively changed. Like I said before, my diet. So at lunch I'll have. Well, I used to go and get like a sandwich and a packet of crisps. I rarely ever do that now. I'll go and buy some cheese and olives, and do you know what I mean? And just munch on that in the car, and you feel so much better, and it's good for you.
What was your go-to then? Like, if you, what's your kind of go-to lunch?
We've not done it for the last couple of weeks because we've been moving house, but I'm into a really good habit of salads. So Aldi do cans of mixed beans for 80p, and you get 6 different beans. So I'll have half a can of that in, and I'll just put loads of different types of salads. So I'm trying to do this 30 plants a week. So I eat 30 plants a week. So I'll put all sorts of stuff, mixed seeds, which has got like 5 different mixed seeds, loads of extra virgin olive oil, cheese, capers, eggs, maybe a bit of tuna. But generally speaking, it's just veggie. And feel mint. Feels so good all the time. You can do a massive box of salad, and if it's full of like beans and lentils and loads of different salads and oils and stuff, it keeps you full. I put nuts in it, loads of different nuts. Great.
Nuts and seeds as well.
Yeah.
They do that packet of M&S, don't they, with all the mixed seeds and stuff. And so what I did is I put an air fryer into the office for the team as well.
That's good.
And so, you know, what the guys have got a habit into doing is like going to the shop and buying chicken breasts. So like they're spending less on lunch, but they're eating healthier. Mm-hmm, so like, you know, for lunch at work, I'll season a couple of chicken breasts, or might bring in a salad in. So I might bring in a lettuce, olive, lettuce, olive, tomato, onion. What else do we put in it?
I think it's adding the seeds and the nuts and the olive oil and cheese. You can quite easily get to a lot of different plants in a box. And cheese, I usually just stay clear of cheese, but on the Zoe podcast recently, they were saying it's been tested. It doesn't increase your cholesterol, cheese.
No.
Because it's fermented.
Yeah.
So you don't want loads of it because it's quite calorific, but it is good for you. Cheese, generally speaking, unless you're intolerant to it, is good for you. So I always
like what's it called? Feta cheese.
Yeah, like, that's amazing. There's loads, isn't there?
Feta and goat's cheese, like that's this week's podcast is the Complete Food Podcast with me, Jamie Oliver, featuring Gordon Ramsay, Gordon Storey. I do think like people will find this interesting, like because you know sometimes you can end up talking the same things over and over again, but we are human, and I just think you know what we do in business relates across to our personal life,
massively,
and vice versa. You know, that's the whole yin and yang. But it looks like a good place to call it this week. I'm starving now.
I
am. I'm ready to crack the air fryer one, but it's only 10 a.m. in the morning, so maybe not. I'll leave it a couple of hours. But as always, thank you for everyone for listening. We are running the TCA Mastermind in December. So if you are interested in coming, we've had a bit of an influx in memberships recently, which is good.
Yeah, really good.
New members. So welcome, guys, if you do listen to the podcast and you've just joined. So it'd be great to see you in December. Anything else to add, mate, before we call it a day?
Nothing else to add from me other than what you've just said, really, which is that we're always on the lookout for new members. I've got 3 calls with potential new members last week. We've had 2 or 3 sign up in the last couple of weeks. So we are growing. It feels like we're growing. Our new website coming out. We're going to be able to link to people exactly what we do, which is coming at the end of the year, ready for January. So it's exciting times at TCA, and we'd love to speak to you if you think we can help you change your diet.
A lot of people say to me, I've spoken to recently, is that it's just not the right time. And it's not. The thing is, it's like anything, you know. It's like starting your diet on Monday.
Yeah.
You know, which Monday? What Monday? The 20th.
Now's the right time. Now's the right time before someone else in your patch joins TCA and then you can't join, and now's the right time because there's never a wrong time to start sending mail to higher end homes and learn how we've got where we're getting to. You know, in terms of revenue in our business, I think we must be in the top 5% in the UK of agencies, the 3 of us. And you know, we can show you and help you to get there yourself.
So if that sounds like you, then give us a call on 0800 TCA 123. No, all jokes aside, you know where to find us. We're on social media. The new website's going to be up soon. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next week.
Bye, guys.